time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure, so let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Carbon Express,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Wind Scent Hunting Sense,
Killer Food Plots, Seeds, Supplements, and Attractants,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Limb Walker Game Calls,
Twisted Minds Bowstrings,
Hunter's Blend Coffee,
Antler Action,
and Family Traditions Tree Stand.
And don't forget you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com.
Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. I'm host Mike Adams at deer camp once again. Just stepped outside, heading out to my stand, and as I actually start walking, the sun breaks free from the clouds. This is Wednesday morning. This is Halloween. Anybody getting out on Halloween? Halloween buck, maybe? I don't know, but seeing that sun come out really makes me happy. I'm going to check a couple trail cams on the way in. I'm going to do 2 sets today because it's about noon right now, I think. I haven't checked the time, but I think it's about noon. So we're going to take a little stroll. And, God, it's beautiful out right now. It poured last night. I mean, poured. We'll get a little more to that here in a minute, but yeah, it's quit raining. It was raining this morning, so I didn't get out. And figure what the heck, let's get out. Let's do a late morning and evening hunt all in one. Make a day of it. No wind. It is awesome. This is very good. Thinking that tonight might be some activity. I'm hoping. At least according to the DeerCast app that I've been using this week. Everything seems to be kind of holding true. So we got pressure rising right now. Storm's moved out. Man, that sun feels good. We're going to get out here and take a look at some cameras as I head back to the stand. Lighten my pack a little bit tonight. It's really been hurting me carrying it in. Walking in so far. There's another story to walking in that I'll get into later in another segment as well. Had a bad day one day while I was up here. Actually, I think that was Monday. So, man, this is beautiful out. Almost my first camera. Got one down a little trail here next to the water. See a lot of coyotes and critters through here. Bobcat too. So put a camera down here just to check and see what's going on. Sometimes you get a cruiser bug through here checking for does. Alrighty. Almost to the camera now. See if I can pick it up from where I'm at here. Yeah, I see it down there. A little further to go. But haven't been seeing a lot of deer up here yet. It's been picking up. Activity's been picking up. So, I'll tell you what. Right here, check this first camera. So, I am going to go to a break real quick. And when I come back, we'll talk after I check my second camera on my way to the stand. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has reinvented the way you buy bows.
From now on, you can make the most educated decision possible
by basing your bow choice specifically on your shooting needs and goals.
All you need to do is ask yourself, what kind of shooter am I? What do I want to achieve?
PSE will help find the right category for you.
So, what kind of shooter are you?
Find out at psearchery.com.
Welcome back. Second segment of the show. Got 2 cameras checked and 3 to go. Got a little bit of a walk to the next one. So we'll walk and whisper and tell you about what's been going on. The last time you heard from me, I was in the stand finishing up the show. And had that little buck that blew at me and kind of sauntered off. Well, later that evening, probably an hour from dark, I watched 2 does come off a food plot. And I watched them feed for probably, a good hour. They made their way up into the oaks where I was at. And came in, when they first entered the oaks, it's probably 80 yards away. Like I said, I watched them for an hour. It took them about an hour to get to shooting distance. And as the big old doe that I was wanting to shoot came into range, she was behind a tree that I'd actually ranged at earlier in the day at 35 yards. And she was right behind it, and there was another tree back. I'd ranged at 40. So I knew I was going to have to pin gap my 30 and 40. And as soon as she walked behind that tree, I drew back. And I tell you what, I'm glad that I've got the 90% let-off cams on this Evolve 31 from PSE. She stood there, a good 30 seconds. As she stepped out and was sizing me up, she kind of looked up my way. She knew something was up, didn't know what. She didn't wind me or anything, because I had the wind in my face. And she kind of hesitated and waited and waited. And I'm looking through the peep. I got the sight on her. And just before she stepped out, she needed to take one more step to clear. I noticed that my level, my third axis level, was not squared up right. I had to cant my bow to get level. So I took my focus off her, put it on the level, got leveled, went back to her, and I had a hard time for my eyes adjusting. I forgot to wear my glasses. I think I left my glasses at home, and I've been shooting with them all year. So as I put my focus back on her for the shot, I could see the pins, but it's just a little fuzzy. And light's dropping. It's getting close to last light. And I waited. She took that step, placed my 30-yard pin on her, and let her fly. Yes, I put the 30-yard pin on her at 35 yards. And watched the arrow go right under her belly, or right at her edge of her belly. And it sounded like it hit a log or something in the ground. So she immediately wheeled, her and the other doe, went up onto the ridge and stood for 4 or 5 minutes, stomping her feet and blowing at me nonstop. It was kind of like a big middle finger to say, screw you, you missed. So both deer walked on off over the ridge onto the neighbor's property. And I'm like, well, gotta go get the arrow, see if I did hit her or not. So I got down, went over, found the arrow, and it was broke off. Could not find the broadhead. It was buried in the ground and hit a log or something. I don't know what. It was dark. I couldn't find it. And as I picked the arrow up, It had some white hair on it, and it was greased up. No blood. So I knew what that meant. That I tickled her belly and superficial wound. All because I rushed the shot. Not paying attention to what I was doing. Had I pin gapped it, she'd have been dead. But that's why they call it hunting and not killing. So, mental mistake. Deer 1, Mike 0. You know, I've beat myself up in the past for things. But at this, I just simply had to laugh. Shrug it off and get back in the stand. Because I knew exactly what I had done. You know, and really as soon as I shot, I'm like, wait, that was a 30-yard pin. I mean, I knew. As soon as I shot, I knew. And watched that arrow go right below her. And I did my due diligence. I did go up and look at where she was stomping, blowing at me, to make sure there was no blood. And I found where she had crossed the 2-track over and then jumped onto the neighbor's property. So, did not find any blood, did not find any deer, and she lives to taunt me until I get something else. So, I guess the moral of that story is slow down, take your time, and execute a good shot. Don't rush it. You know, try to do the right thing and leveling the bow up. And it took my focus off what I was doing. So, anyway, that was that evening. And actually, while I was sitting there watching them deer feed through, I did see 3 other deer come off the food plot. But they didn't hang around and feed through the oaks. They immediately went right up the ridge and over onto the neighbor's property. And I don't know if it was a buck that was chasing a couple does. I really couldn't see them. They were pretty far off. So, all in all, that evening I saw 8. So, activity was picking up. The DeerCast app that night said that activity was going to be good, and it was. So, not saying that I rely on it 100%, but I'm just comparing it to what I'm seeing out here. And tonight, it's supposed to be ramping up for our area. Activity is climbing. Pressure's rising. The storm pushed out. I've actually got sun right now and blue skies. So, things are looking pretty good. I'm getting closer to my 3rd camera here. Haven't seen any deer yet, but it's still early. I still forgot to check and see what time it was. I think it's somewhere between noon and 1. Wind's picking up just a little bit. You might be able to hear it, I don't know. Not seeing fresh tracks in the 2-track either. Which to me tells me the deer haven't moved yet from the storm last night. So I'm going to throw it to a break. When we come back, I'll tell you about last night in the storm. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has always dominated the speed category. Now, the most revolutionary cam system ever to hit the market has perfected the shooting experience. Introducing PSE's Evolve Cam System, featuring extremely high let-off capabilities and the smoothest draw cycle in history. No other cam system has ever delivered this level of total comfort and total control. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Welcome back, third segment of the show. Still making my way to my next camera. Take a look. Okay, decisions. Which way do I go? I'm at a fork in the road. Both lead to the camera. I think I'll walk along the food plot and see if we see any tracks in the road. So, last night, actually I didn't go out in the morning. My bike broke on Monday, and I pulled it off the trailer, and that was the day Dan Yasa went home from hunting up here with me. So I was by myself, and it's like, okay, I no longer have to take people to a stand, so I can ride my bike. I pulled it off the trailer, jumped on it, and went to pedal, and broke the derailleur right off of the back of the bike. Don't know what happened. It must have got bent while I was traveling. But that was a backbreaker for me. So that meant the rest of this week I'm walking. And with the way my knees are, I was really worried about it. And for that reason, yesterday morning, I did not. Well, there's fresh tracks, a little tiny hoof print. That meant that all the walking hurt my knees. And the one that's the worst, I woke up. My knee was swelled up. I felt like a hot poker going through it. And the forecast was not really that great, so I decided to stay in, take it easy, and hunt the evening. Went over and visited with some land consultants, talked with them about some things, and got to see how they do some of their fields, gained a little knowledge and insight, and then I came back for the evening hunt. And I got out, and knowing storms were going to roll in late in the evening, and I got to my stand and spent most of the day staring at the woods. With about an hour to go, the wind's picking up. It's getting darker out. I mean, like storms, darker. And I noticed, it looks more right, there was a nice big doe 15 yards off my right shoulder behind me. And I'm like, you can't be kidding me. She came in, I just didn't see her. So she walked on off, and she got to about 40 yards. She stopped broadside. I couldn't get a shot. By the time I got up and got ready, there's limbs in the way. But she stopped, turned, and looked over her shoulder right at me. And I think she winded me, because the wind was blowing right in her direction. So she walked out and off, and right before dark, I heard some commotion off to my left in front of me. Got up and got ready. I heard two does coming through, and I watched them walk through the ravine, across the fence onto the neighbor's property, about 100 yards out in front of me. And about 5 minutes later, I heard a buck grunt coming from the same spot. But I figured it was a little deer, just because it wasn't a deep, gravelly grunt. Sure enough, a little 4-point come through right on their heels and followed them off over onto the neighbor's property. And then I spent the next 30 minutes contemplating, do I wait, see if I see a big one, or get out of here before the rain comes? And I decided to stay and wait it out and hope I'd see a big one. And waiting for a big buck right before dark was a mistake, at least in the sense that when it got dark I came down and made my way out to the 2-track. And when I did, it started to rain. And I walked, maybe not quite a quarter mile, not quite halfway. And thunder started rolling. And I got a camera down here that I didn't realize I had out. Merry Christmas to me. Wow. Okay. Oh, I moved it, that's right. It's not on the tree down the middle of the field. So, as I got to, or as I'm making my way back, like I said, it started raining real hard. And it started to really pour down rain. I mean, it was coming down. So I picked my pace up as it started raining harder and harder and harder. And I get back, within maybe 100 yards of camp, or 50 yards of camp. Big bolt of lightning, crack of thunder, and it just started torrential monsoon. So I got inside, got all dried off and cleaned up, and it proceeded to rain all night long. So that pretty much made a washout of this morning. So that's what I'm saying. I haven't seen any tracks in the road. There's no fresh tracks, which means the deer haven't moved since last night. So that's good. So, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a break right quick. I'm going to check this camera, and we'll talk on the rest of the way to the stand. We'll be right back after this.
Acceleration is part of PSE's DNA. PSE pioneered the speed movement. Now they've developed the vapor category to help you find the most powerful bows on the market to fit you.
High speed equates to intense power and building the momentum you need to be successful. Are you a vapor shooter? Find out at psearchery.com.
Welcome back. Last segment of the show. Just checked trail cam number 4. And I think we got a problem with it. Well, first problem is batteries are dead now. And I got 1,400 pictures off of it in a short amount of time, so I know it was triggering false positives. So we're going to make our way up here to the 2-track, get to our last camera, and then get in the stand. The wind's died down again. Got bluebird skies. So I'm expecting a good evening here soon. But this camera that I just checked, actually, I might get lucky and have picked up that buck that came out on the first evening that we were here. Chased the doe off the field. So I might actually get a look and see if he's as big as I think he is. We will see. I'm up on the 2-track. Still don't see a lot of... There's no tracks up here. all got washed out from the rain last night. But that buck came out right by where that last camera was. So I'm hoping I got him on camera before it died. That'll be my luck. Actually, when I turned it back on, it did flash and then died. So either the camera gave up the ghost or the batteries are dead. But either way, I'm hoping to see that guy on camera. Sounds like I hear a vehicle. Can't tell if it's the guys coming through to check gas wells or if it's on the neighbor's property. It's hard to tell. We will find out here soon enough, I guess, if it comes down through here. Still not seen any critters yet. Birds, that's about it. We're getting close to oh, wait a minute. Remember, I thought I moved that camera. I didn't move that camera. I'm wondering if our camp manager, our old camp manager, my buddy of mine, before he went down to Missouri, I wonder if he put that camera up there. He must have. Because the camera that I was going to go to is still down here on my tree in the middle of the field. Huh. Interesting. I really don't remember putting that camera down there, but I might have. We will see. I'll have to ask him. But, so I guess it was like Christmas. I guess I had a bonus camera to check. That's always good. So, let's see if I can check a camera and talk at the same time here. Let's see what we got. As I take my backpack off. Gotta get my key lock out. You know, I don't know why, but I still do put key locks on these, most of my cameras. It's just practice I've got into over the years. We had some guys running bear dogs here one year, and they actually pulled our cameras. Word got through the neighborhood, and we actually found out who it was, so we got the cameras back. But since then, I've just been a little weary of leaving a camera out without a lockbox on it, even though we're out in the middle of nowhere. This is an old Browning Spec Ops that I'm changing now. This is like one of the first cameras I ever bought from Browning. This thing I think's been in the field 4 or 5 years. It's performed great. Let's see what our battery looks like. It's firing up. Got the new card in it. And I've got 30%, so it'll be good for another couple weeks till firearm deer season. 15 days from now. Alright, let's get the cable back on it. And then we'll download them. It's a pain to have to do this, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. I gotta walk around here and flip the cable through. I think I've had these out for about almost a month now without checking them, so. Okay, now get out the iPad. That's what I use an iPad to download to. Got a Wild Game Innovations card reader that I use with this. It works pretty doggone good. You download an app and it organizes everything for you. I know it sounds like I'm making a lot of noise, but these mics on this recorder are very sensitive. I'm barely whispering here. Okay, let's fire this baby up. Alright. Let's see how many photos we got. We'll figure it out after we download. Couldn't get my iPad to respond to make a folder, so we will wait until I get to the stand or to the next camera here up the road and see if I can get it to do it then. We're getting close here to the stand. Like I said, the app Deercast that I've been watching says activity should be picking up tonight into this evening, so which makes sense. The rain's gone. It's warming up. Skies are clearing up. Pressure's building. So we should be able to see some deer tonight, I would think. But it's beautiful. All the maple trees have lost their leaves. All the poplar trees have lost theirs. The only thing that's got leaves right now is the oaks. And they're either brown or yellow. And some of them are down as well. But it's going to be a good night. I just got a feeling. Something about Halloween. You always hear about guys shooting Halloween bucks. So maybe tonight's the night. I don't know. But we're here to our last camera. And right here by the spring well, artesian well, we've got water flowing through a creek here. Well, I'm going to check this camera. I'm going to get my butt in the stand. So hopefully, and the next time you hear from me, I'll have something good to report. But if you got the opportunity, get outside and enjoy it. That'll do it for this episode of the Up North Journal.
And don't forget you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com. This episode was brought to you by PSE Archery,
Carbon Express,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Wind Scent Hunting Scents,
Killer Food Plots, Seeds, Supplements, and Attractants,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Limb Walker Game Calls,
Twisted Minds Bowstrings,
Hunter's Blend Coffee,
Antler Action,
and Family Traditions Tree Stands.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe until next week on the Up North Journal.